The city of New York has always been a living, breathing theater, a landscape where the sidewalks serve as stages and the neon lights of Broadway write the nightly history of human emotion, ambition, and creative triumph. Last night, that familiar energy reached a fever pitch as the theater world descended upon the historic and majestic Radio City Music Hall for the 79th Annual Tony Awards. It was an evening where the barrier between the structured magic of the stage and the unpredictable reality of the public eye completely dissolved, beginning on a red carpet that was nothing short of an absolute visual masterpiece. For weeks leading up to this moment, the entire city had been buzzing with anticipation, not just for the golden statuettes that would validate months of grueling performances, but for the grand sartorial overture that always precedes the ceremony. The air was thick with excitement, a palpable sense of glamour that drew thousands of eager spectators and photographers to the barricades, all desperate to catch a fleeting glimpse of the icons who redefine modern style. This year, the stakes felt undeniably higher as the intersection of high fashion and theatrical storytelling produced an array of bold, uncompromising, and deeply memorable looks that left onlookers entirely breathless. Before we dive into the most magnificent, shocking, and talked about outfits that graced the carpet last night, take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the world of entertainment and celebrity style. The red carpet of the Tony Awards has historically held a unique position in the global fashion calendar, distinguishing itself from the traditional restraint often seen at the Oscars or the safe experimentalism of music award shows. On this specific carpet, fashion is treated as an extension of narrative art, a final opportunity for actors, dancers, and creators to shed the elaborate costumes they wear 8 times a week and present their truest, most unfiltered selves to the world. Yesterday evening was a testament to that liberating philosophy as the arriving guests transformed the traditional step and repeat into a vibrant, living gallery of haute couture and custom-tailored brilliance. The flashes of hundreds of cameras illuminated a sea of rich textures, from cascading silks that caught the evening breeze to structured, avant-garde silhouettes that challenged the very definition of formal evening wear. Every single arrival felt like the opening line of a complex script, carefully rehearsed yet delivering a raw, powerful impact the moment the stars stepped out of their vehicles and onto the velvet walkway. Critics and fans alike immediately noticed a collective shift toward dramatic storytelling through clothing, with deep, evocative jewel tones, daring geometric cuts, and intricately textured fabrics dominating the early arrivals. It became clear within the first hour that the night was not going to be defined by safe, classic choices, but rather by a fearless embrace of personal identity, artistic freedom, and high-octane theatricality. As the afternoon sun began to dip behind the iconic New York skyline, casting long, dramatic shadows across the bustling venue, the arrivals intensified, bringing out the heavy hitters of both the Broadway stage and Hollywood royalty. The atmosphere was a chaotic symphony of shouting photographers, roaring crowds, and the soft rustle of expensive fabric sweeping across the floor, creating an overwhelming sensory experience that only New York can provide. Among the early standouts who captured the collective imagination of the crowd was Sarah Paulson, whose presence always commands an immediate and respectful silence before the cameras erupt into a frenzy. Walking with an effortless grace that has made her a beloved fixture of American theater and television, she wore an exquisite satin ermine creation that perfectly balanced classic romance with a sharp contemporary edge. The gown featured a beautifully structured ivory bodice adorned with delicate bow detailing, which seamlessly flowed into a breathtaking peony pink tea-length skirt that seemed to float with her every movement. To complement this masterclass in modern romanticism, she chose dazzling diamond drop earrings from Boucheron that caught the light with every turn of her head, adding just the right amount of classic Broadway sparkle to an already flawless presentation. Her look set a remarkably high standard for the evening, demonstrating that true elegance lies in the careful balance of historical reverence and forward-thinking design. Marie Claire, not far behind, the multi-talented Maya Rudolph, brought her signature sophistication to the carpet, reminding everyone in attendance that simplicity can be the loudest statement in a room full of extravagant designs. Collaborating with the legendary House of Chanel, she delivered a stunning twist on the traditional black evening gown by opting for an elongated drop-waist silhouette that elongated her frame and exuded a timeless, effortless cool. The understated luxury of the fabric, combined with the precise tailoring that has defined the fashion house for generations, allowed her natural charisma and poise to take center stage, proving that true style does not need to scream to be noticed. Meanwhile, the incredibly talented Carrie Coon opted for a completely different but equally magnificent approach, capturing the title of perhaps the coolest look of the night in a tuxedo-inspired Althusara gown. The brilliant design merged the sharp, masculine lines of a classic tuxedo jacket with the flowing, elegant silhouette of a high-fashion floor-length dress, subverting traditional gender norms while maintaining an undeniable sense of high glamour. To elevate the ensemble even further, she accessorized with a pair of wired glasses. A daring and intellectual choice that earned immediate applause from fashion commentators who praised her willingness to break the unspoken rules of red carpet accessorizing. These early, spectacular moments set the stage for an unforgettable evening, leaving the audience hungry for the main arrivals and setting a tense, thrilling tone for the rest of Broadway's biggest night. The momentum of the evening continued to build at an astronomical pace as the red carpet reached its peak operational hour, transforming the exterior of Radio City Music Hall into a dazzling nexus of global fashion and high-stakes theatrical tension. The air, which had grown cooler as twilight fully settled over Manhattan, was heated by the sheer energy of the crowd and the relentless flash of cameras capturing every single fold, seam, and stitch of haute couture. It was during this high-energy window that the true heavyweights of the night began to arrive, each presentation carrying the weight of meticulous preparation and artistic intention that mirrored the intense rehearsal processes of the Broadway shows being celebrated inside. The visual landscape shifted from the early experimental romanticism into a display of absolute power dressing and historic sartorial statements that will undoubtedly be analyzed by fashion historians for years to come. The absolute pinnacle of this dramatic shift arrived with the presence of Cynthia Erivo, an artist whose red carpet appearances are universally anticipated as major cultural events in their own right. True to her reputation as a fearless pioneer of style, she commanded the carpet in a custom Louis Vuitton creation that was nothing short of an architectural marvel, utilizing a rich, deep burgundy velvet that seemed to absorb and radiate the flashing lights simultaneously. The gown featured an incredibly dramatic, towering structural collar that framed her face like a piece of high art sculpture, balanced by a masterfully tailored bodice that accentuated her powerful stature. As she moved down the line with absolute regal confidence, the sheer weight and impeccable drape of the fabric created a sense of theatrical gravity, proving once again that she understands how to use the red carpet as an extension of the stage itself to tell a profound story of strength, elegance, and artistic independence. Following this breathtaking display, the arrival of the legendary Jessica Lange added a layer of cinematic and theatrical royalty to the proceedings, reminding everyone of the deep history and enduring legacy that defines the Broadway community. Stepping out into the spotlight with the effortless poise that only decades of artistic excellence can cultivate, she chose a magnificent deep navy blue column gown designed by the iconic Brandon Maxwell. The dress was a masterclass in sophisticated minimalism, relying entirely on the perfection of its clean lines, a subtle yet striking off-the-shoulder neckline, and a fabrication that possessed a liquid-like sheen under the venue lights. Rather than relying on overt eccentricity, her look triumphed through the sheer power of understatement, proving that true glamour does not require gimmicks when it is backed by an unparalleled artistic presence. Almost immediately after, the atmosphere shifted back to high-fashion drama with the arrival of the brilliant Rachel McAdams, who chose to make her Tony Awards red carpet debut an unforgettable one by collaborating with the renowned fashion house of Givenchy. She walked the carpet in a breathtaking sheer black tulle gown that was intricately embroidered with thousands of delicate, hand-stitched crystal beads arranged in complex geometric patterns that mimicked the Art Deco architecture of the surrounding city. The dress managed to balance an ethereal, almost weightless transparency with a sharp, modern structure, creating a stunning visual paradox that kept photographers entirely captivated as she moved with a fluid, hypnotic grace. The men of Broadway and Hollywood also refused to play it safe this year, entirely rejecting the traditional, uninspiring black tuxedo in favor of bold, expressive tailoring that matched the creative energy of their female counterparts. Leading this masculine style revolution was the exceptionally talented Jonathan Groff, who arrived looking every bit the classic leading man, but with a distinctly modern, high-fashion twist that immediately drew praise from style critics. He wore a custom, double-breasted tuxedo from the atelier of Ralph Lauren Purple Label, crafted from an incredibly rich midnight blue silk jacquard that featured a subtle, woven tonal pattern adding immense depth to the fabric. The silhouette was tailored to absolute perfection, featuring sharp peak lapels and a slightly elongated jacket that gave him a commanding, statuesque presence on the carpet while maintaining an air of effortless, approachable charm. Similarly, the charismatic Leslie Odom Jr. continued his long-standing streak of red carpet excellence by delivering an absolute masterclass in avant-garde formal wear, stepping out in an all-white ensemble designed by the visionary Pier Paolo Piccioli for Valentino. The outfit consisted of a perfectly structured floor-length coat worn over a crisp collarless shirt and wide-leg trousers. A daring monochromatic choice that stood out brilliantly against the deep red velvet of the carpet and the dark New York evening. The look was both deeply respectful of the formality of the event and completely revolutionary in its execution, demonstrating how traditional menswear can be completely dismantled and rebuilt into something entirely fresh, poetic, and profoundly beautiful. As the final minutes before the main curtain call approached, the red carpet became an almost overwhelming tapestry of contrasting styles, textures, and emotional highs, with each new arrival adding to the growing sense of anticipation for the ceremony inside. The sheer variety of the garments on display was a direct reflection of the diversity of the Broadway season itself, ranging from classical, historically inspired garments to hyper-modern, minimalist designs that pushed the boundaries of evening wear. Every star who walked the carpet seemed acutely aware that these unfiltered photographs would become the defining visual record of the 2026 theatrical season, a permanent archive of a moment when the community came together to celebrate survival, revival, and the enduring power of live performance. The tension was palpable as stylists made final adjustments to long, cascading trains, publicists guided their clients through the labyrinth of media outlets, and the stars themselves took deep breaths, shedding the anxiety of the competitive season to fully embrace the joy of the celebration. The collective visual impact of these incredible looks created a profound sense of cultural momentum, setting a standard of excellence that ensured the 79th Annual Tony Awards would be remembered not just for the historic wins and breathtaking performances inside the theater, but as one of the most stylish, expressive, and visually spectacular nights in the modern history of New York fashion. As the final remaining flashes of the photographers' cameras illuminated the fading twilight outside Radio City Music Hall, the true significance of this magnificent evening began to settle over the assembled crowd and the millions watching around the globe. The red carpet, which had served as a grand living canvas for several hours, was not merely an exhibition of superficial luxury or fleeting trends. It was a profound celebration of human resilience, dedication, and the relentless pursuit of artistic perfection. To fully understand why this specific gathering matters so deeply, one must look closely at the incredible journeys of the individuals who walked that carpet, individuals who have dedicated their entire lives to the grueling, unforgiving, yet utterly magical world of live theater. The Tony Awards represent the absolute pinnacle of a performer's journey, an environment where there are no second takes, no editing tricks, and no safety nets, where every ounce of emotion must be delivered raw and unfiltered to a live audience night after night. The breathtaking garments worn by the stars were a physical manifestation of that very same passion, serving as a creative armor that allowed them to step out of their performance personas and claim their rightful places as icons of contemporary culture. Every stitch of fabric, every precisely tailored seam, and every daring design choice told a deeply personal story of survival, of triumphs over professional setbacks, and of a shared commitment to keeping the ancient flame of theatrical storytelling burning bright in the modern world. Among the many inspiring narratives that filled the venue, none was more resonant than the journey of Sarah Paulson, whose triumphant return to the Broadway stage has been heralded as a definitive cultural moment for this generation of theatergoers. Her presence on the carpet, radiating a calm, earned confidence, was a powerful reminder of her decades-long devotion to the craft of acting, moving seamlessly between the intimate intensity of independent theater and the grand scale of major television productions. Her choice of a modern romantic gown was not just a fashion statement, but a reflection of her artistic philosophy, which constantly seeks to bridge the gap between classical emotional depth and sharp, contemporary truth. Similarly, the appearance of Jonathan Groff marked a beautiful full-circle moment in a career that began with youthful ambition and has evolved into the steady, undeniable brilliance of a seasoned leading man. Having spent years pouring his heart into groundbreaking musical productions, his flawless appearance on the carpet symbolized a deep mutual respect between an artist and the community that raised him, proving that true longevity in the arts is built on a foundation of humility, hard work, and an unwavering respect for the audience. These artists, along with legends like Jessica Lange, remind us that the theater is a multi-generational lineage, a continuous passing of the torch from one master storyteller to the next, with each season adding new depth to the collective human experience. Beyond the individual triumphs, the 2026 Tony Awards will be remembered as a historic turning point for the intersection of high fashion and performing arts, establishing a new global standard for how creative expression can be communicated through personal style. The unfiltered images captured on the red carpet have already begun to ripple across the fashion world, challenging traditional designers to rethink the boundaries of formal wear and embrace a more theatrical, narrative-driven approach to clothing. By rejecting safe, predictable choices and opting instead for architectural structures, unexpected fabric combinations, and bold subversions of traditional gender norms, the attendees proved that fashion is at its most powerful when it is used as a tool for authentic self-expression. The immense public response to these looks, which sparked passionate conversations and widespread admiration across all corners of the internet, underscores a universal human desire for glamour, spectacle, and genuine artistic risk-taking. It reminds us that even in a world increasingly dominated by digital screens and fleeting virtual interactions, there remains an irreplaceable magical power in live events where people come together in a physical space to celebrate creativity, beauty, and the shared stories that define our humanity. As the doors of the magnificent auditorium finally closed, drawing a definitive curtain on the spectacular red carpet arrivals, the energy shifted seamlessly from the external display of visual brilliance to the internal celebration of theatrical excellence inside. The stunning array of gowns and tuxedos that had captivated onlookers would soon be cataloged into the archives of fashion history, but the spirit of unity, joy, and creative freedom they represented would continue to echo through the theater for the rest of the night. This unforgettable evening demonstrated that the heart of Broadway is beating stronger than ever, fueled by a diverse, passionate, and incredibly talented community of creators who are entirely unafraid to push